My beloved child, there are seasons when you thought weariness had become an inseparable part of your life, like an old garment you put on every morning, like a silent sigh that followed you through each day. You thought the wounds within could only be hidden, not touched. You thought this fragile body had to keep forcing itself forward, and your heart had to learn to become accustomed to empty spaces, to fears, to nights that could not be put into words. But today I bend down close to you, not to rebuke you for being weak, but to remind you that my healing is not far from you like a cold star in the high heavens. It is near like breath, gentle like a hand laid upon the forehead of a child burning with fever, deep like an underground stream flowing beneath a dry land. When you return to me with faith, even if it is as small as a speck of dust in the light, I can still use that very small thing to open a great door in your life. Do not be quick to conclude that grace is only for those who are strong, who have never stumbled or never doubted. I do not come to you because you have become perfect. I come to you because you are my child. I do not wait for you to heal yourself before I embrace you, even while you are still trembling, still confused, still unsure where to begin. I have already been standing beside you. At times you thought your prayer was too clumsy, too fragmented, too small to be heard by heaven. But my child, I hear even the things you have not yet been able to speak aloud. I see the tears you swallow back inside, the hands you clench in the night, the eyes that try to appear peaceful while storms are rising within. And it is precisely there, in the place where you think you are weakest, that I can lay down my gentlest power. Therefore, do not despise a simple cry. There are words that are not long, not ornate, not spoken before a crowd. Yet they can open the heavens you thought had been sealed shut. When a child calls out to his father in fear, the father does not need to hear a speech. One cry is enough to move the father's heart. I am the same, my beloved child. One short sentence spoken from trust can become a key in your hand, not because the sentence itself possesses magical power, but because it turns you back to me, the one who is loving you, holding you, lifting you, and renewing you. Sometimes you only need to whisper, Father, please touch me. And in that sincerity, you have opened your heart for my stream to enter. Remember Naaman, a commander who once had honor, authority, reputation, and an entourage following him. Yet beneath that splendid garment was a hidden pain he could not conceal. He expected a grand ritual, a majestic gesture, something worthy of his rank. But you see, the path of healing came through a very ordinary command. Go down to the river and wash. What caused him to stumble was not the water, but his own pride. He nearly missed the blessing simply because what I used seemed too simple. But when he humbled himself, when he stepped down, when he did the simple thing with an obedient heart, the old condition left him, and freshness returned to his life. My beloved child, many times what I place in your hand is the same, not noisy, not complicated, not something that amazes the world from the beginning. But if you believe and follow, the waters of grace will do what your own strength could never do. I know there have been times when you asked yourself why you prayed and still hurt, why you hoped and still had to wait, why you tried to stand up, yet still felt your inner legs worn out with exhaustion. But do not mistake waiting for being forgotten. A seed lying beneath the soil is not dead. It is being covered so it may sprout. Dawn does not come because night disappears all at once by itself. Dawn comes little by little, with one first streak of light, then another, until darkness no longer has the right to remain. My healing can sometimes come like lightning, but it can also come like the morning dew, soaking slowly yet deeply, quietly yet steadfastly. Let me work within you in my way, and do not force your heart to recover according to fear's timetable. Now, my child, what I want you to preserve is not only the expectation of being delivered from pain, but the learning of how to stay close to me within that very pain. For when you are close to me, the things that once terrified you will gradually lose their voice. When you are close to me, the memories that once weighed heavily upon you will no longer be allowed to rule your tomorrow. When you are close to me, your body, your mind, your breath, your sleep, every rhythm of your life is placed beneath the gentle shadow of my love. I do not come to merely patch the torn places in your life. I come to renew you from the root, so that you do not merely survive the storm, but learn to bloom after the days of fierce winds. Perhaps you are carrying within you a question you have not dared to speak. Can I still be touched? I answer you with the tenderness of a father. Yes, you can still be touched. No wound is too deep for me. No night too long for my light to find its way in. No brokenness so severe that it makes me step back. You may come to me without decorating your pain, without arranging your words beautifully, without proving that you are worthy. Come as you are. Place before me what you have hidden for too long. Let me touch the place you often avoid, the place where you often tell yourself, no one will ever understand. I understand, and more than understanding, I love you in that very place. Therefore, my beloved child, from today on, whenever weakness visits you, do not let it pull you away from me. Turn that very moment into a doorway of return. When worry rises, speak to me. When your body is weary, lean on me. When your mind is tangled, let my peace descend like fragrant oil upon the wound. A small petition, when offered with faith, is never small before me. One step of return, though slow, is still a step toward the light. And when you no longer have enough strength to walk, I will carry you through the stretch of road you thought you could never cross. I want you to know that the key I have placed in your hand does not lie in complexity, but in simple faith. Call me Father in the moments when you are weakest. Invite me into the hidden room of your life, where there is still much dust, many old sobs, and many things that have not yet been named. I will not enter like a cold guest. I will enter as the one who belongs to you, as a source of love that never runs dry, as a light that does not blind you, but is enough for you to see the way. And then, little by little, you will realize that what seemed withered can become green again. What seemed lost can be restored. What seemed ended can become a beginning in my hands. You only need to open your heart, trust, and let me touch you. Perhaps you have often seen repeated signs in quiet hours and wondered whether they were only coincidences or hidden reminders. My child, I do not want you to chase curiosity, nor do I want your heart to fall into fear before things you do not fully understand. What I want is for you to know how to discern. Not every light comes to lead the way, and not every intense emotion is my voice. Therefore, when unusual moments touch your life, return to peace. Do not rush after the impulses within. I do not speak to make you panic. I speak to keep you from losing your way. I do not awaken you so that you tremble before the future. I awaken you so that you may recognize that a part of your life needs to be placed again beneath my hand, needs to be illuminated, needs to be protected from choices that seem sweet, but may lead you far from where I want you to stand, firm. In the deepest nights, when human voices have withdrawn and the room holds only the breath of silence, you often hear more clearly the things daytime conceals. Certain longings, certain ties, certain stirrings, certain faces and old words return, causing your heart to waver like water touched by wind. You thought they were only ordinary emotions. But I see the fragile threads pulling you back to places that no longer nourish your peace. There are attachments that are not loud but persistent. They do not bind with iron, but with memory, with hope, with compassion, with questions that have no answer. I do not rebuke you for having loved, believed, and once opened your heart. I know you were created with a heart that knows how to give. But my beloved child, not everything that once touched you is allowed to continue directing you. Not everyone who once passed through your life has the right to hold the key to your tomorrow. Therefore, I come to you not as thunder that terrifies you, but as a father placing a lamp inside a dark house so you can see clearly what must be released and what must be kept. My light is not meant to expose you in shame, but to set you free. There are things you keep thinking you can control. Yet, the more you hold them, the more restless your heart becomes. There are conversations you ended with words, but have not ended in the hidden depths within. There are memories you thought had fallen asleep, but only one small sign is enough to awaken an entire old river. I know you have tried to be strong, tried to be rational, tried to convince yourself that everything is still fine. But today, I do not need you to pretend to be fine before me. I only need you to honestly lay down the things that are pulling you away from purity. Remember the story of the boy Samuel in the temple long ago. That night, everything was quiet. The lamp in the holy place had not yet gone out, and a voice called in the darkness. The boy thought it was the priest Eli calling him. So he ran with the innocence of one who did not yet understand how heaven speaks. But after several times, he was taught that the call did not come from man, but from the one who was preparing him for a greater journey. Do you see? A holy calling often does not come with display. It can come in the night, in stillness, when you least expect it, not to satisfy curiosity, but to place you in a posture of listening. Samuel did not rush to interpret according to his own understanding. He learned to respond with humility. You, too, when signs stir you, do not run after the first emotion, but let me teach you how to hear rightly, understand rightly, and walk rightly. Now, my child, the watchfulness I desire in you is not a life of anxiety, constantly doubting everything around you. True watchfulness is standing in peace while remaining clear-minded, knowing how to love without losing yourself, knowing how to show compassion without allowing others to control your direction, knowing how to open your heart while still keeping the door of your life under my guidance. Some people come to teach you about kindness. Some come to teach you about boundaries. Some come only for a season and must leave so you can continue walking. If you try to hold on to something that has been completed, you will grow weary. If you call a bond destiny merely because it feels powerful, you may confuse depth with dependence. I want you to learn that what comes from me will not rob you of your peace, will not make you small, will not cause you to live in constant unease, and will not force you to trade the purity of your heart in order to keep it. There are connections that make you feel as though the whole sky within you is moving, but I want you to look carefully at their fruit after remembering them. Do you feel lighter after hoping? Do you become more steady after drawing near again? Do you move closer to what is good? Or do you fall back into the old cycle of unrest, waiting, and self-doubt? I do not ask to hurt you, I ask to awaken you. For true love does not make you lose the voice within you. Right attachment does not lead you away from the light. A path blessed by me will have trials. But within those trials, there will still be clarity. There will be waiting. But within that waiting, there will still be dignity. There will be sacrifice. But not a depletion that drains you day by day. Let me untie within you the knots you have grown too accustomed to living with. Do not be afraid if I point out something you need to leave behind. I do not take away in order to leave you empty. I make room so you may be filled with something better. Do not be afraid if I cause you to realize that a certain tie no longer belongs to your new season. I do not deny what once had meaning. I simply do not want the past to become a hand that holds back the future. You can be grateful for a person, a memory, a journey, and still move forward in freedom. You can bless what has passed. Then close that door without resentment. That is not coldness. That is maturity and grace. Now, my beloved child, receive this reminder as a lamp, not as a burden. I am calling you back to the purity of faith, to a peace that does not depend on anyone's reaction, to a life that knows how to place every stirring beneath my light. When you feel your heart being pulled too strongly, pause and speak to me. When you do not know whether it is a sign or merely longing, draw near to me before you decide. When you stand before a choice that could change the direction of your life, do not ask only what it makes you feel, but ask where it is leading you. I will not leave you alone in discernment. I will place within you a deep stillness when something comes from me, and a gentle warning when something may wound you, because I am your Father. I see not only what you see, but also what lies behind doors you have not yet opened. I know which seeds of blessing need to be guarded, and which traps are wearing familiar garments to soften your heart. Trust me enough to slow down. Trust me enough not to answer every call in haste. Trust me enough to place even your strongest emotions beneath the authority of my love. Then you will see that when you choose my guidance over the urgency of emotion, you do not lose love. You find yourself again in the light. And from that place, you will continue walking, no longer pulled by invisible cords, but lifted by my hand, sheltered in peace, and led into the bright path I prepared for you long ago. My beloved child, quiet your heart and listen to what I am placing within you, because not every call in life comes to make you happy, and not every change begins with a pleasant feeling. There are times when I must touch the things you are holding, not to hurt you, but to free you from cords that have been silently pulling you away from the path of light. You may think that everyone who once entered your life will remain forever, that bonds built with memories, tears, promises, and sacrifice will never reach a day when they must close. But my child, your life is not led by familiarity, but by my loving intention. There are things that were once a shelter for a season, but if you remain too long, that place can become a cramped room that prevents you from seeing the sky I am opening before you. I know it is not easy for you to let go. I know you have loved sincerely, trusted to the point of placing part of your peace in another person's hands, and told yourself that if only you were more patient, more forgiving, more willing to try, everything would return to how it was at the beginning. But, my beloved child, not every crack must be repaired by your own strength. Some cracks are warning signs, some distances are protection, and some doors close, not because I have rejected you, but because I am preventing you from entering a place that could make you wither. When I take something from your hand, I do not do it coldly. I do it as a father who sees his child holding a sharp object without realizing it is making the hand bleed. Therefore, do not be quick to call separation a loss. Some departures are a form of grace. Some people come to teach you to trust. Some come to teach you to forgive. Some come so you may learn boundaries. And some are only permitted to walk with you to a certain bend in the road. When their season ends, if you keep holding them in your heart out of fear of loneliness, you will also carry what I wanted you to lay down. I do not deny the value of what you have gone through. I am not telling you to make light of the laughter, the tears, the attachment, or the years that once had meaning. I am only teaching you that gratitude is not the same as clinging, and love is not the same as losing the peace I have given you. Perhaps you are silently asking why I allow some ties to loosen, why those who were once close gradually become distant, why something that once made you feel safe suddenly becomes a burden. My child, it is because I see what you have not seen. You often look at words, gestures, appearances, beautiful memories, and moments that soften your heart. But I look at the direction in which that thing is leading you. I see whether, when you are near someone, the light within you is lifted up or dimmed. I see whether, after every encounter, you become more peaceful or return with a troubled mind. I see what nourishes your purity and what is quietly eroding your faith, joy, dignity, and the calling I have placed upon your life. Remember Abraham, the one who was called to leave a familiar land, to leave his relatives, his old way of life, and the visible supports the human eye could see. I did not give him a complete map from the beginning, nor did I explain every turn of the journey. I only called him to walk in trust. If he had clung to the old place out of fear of the unknown, he could not have entered the greater promise. But when he dared to leave familiarity, the new path began to open beneath his feet. My beloved child, sometimes what I am doing in you is just like that. I am not only calling you to leave a place, but perhaps to leave a habit, a relationship, a dependency, an emotional cycle that has kept you standing still for too long. Obedience is not always loud. Many times it begins with a quiet decision not to return to what drained you, not to ask for the chain back simply because it once wore the shape of love. I am shaping you again like a potter, tenderly holding clay in his hands. The potter does not hate the vessel when he trims away the excess, nor is he angry when he softens again a place that has not yet taken the right form. Every adjustment is meant to bring the vessel into a beauty that is fuller, stronger, and more useful. I am working in you with the same patience. There are things you call closeness, but I see them as excess that keeps you from standing firm. There are words you still remember, expectations you still hold, concerns you still nourish, but they no longer serve your growth. When I shine light upon those things, do not resist the light. Let me show you what needs to be washed clean, what needs to be healed, what needs to be returned to the past so that you may step into the new day with free hands. Now, my child, I do not want you to become bitter toward those who could not continue with you. Do not turn separation into a sentence against them, and do not turn pain into a room where you lock yourself away. Some people are not evil, but they are not suited to the path on which I am leading you. Some people were once a blessing at a certain time, but if they remain, they become a delay. Some people you must forgive, bless, and release from the place they are no longer permitted to occupy in your life. When you do this, you do not diminish love. You put love in its proper order. You do not close your heart. You guard your heart from being controlled by fear, pity, or memory. I know that letting go can make you feel empty. When someone leaves a familiar place in your life, a silence may appear within you and leave you confused. But do not fear that silence. I often sow new seeds in the spaces you thought were losses. I often pour peace into places once filled with the noise of anxiety. I often open a way when you no longer try to hold doors that I, myself, have closed. You will learn that loneliness in my hands can become a place of restoration, while attachment in the wrong place, even among many people, can still leave you weary. I do not lead you out of something to abandon you in the wilderness. I lead you out to teach you to walk more lightly, more wisely, and closer to me. There are times when you look at the cracks in your life and wonder whether I still look at you with the same tender eyes as at the beginning. You see the times you were weak, the decisions not yet complete, the slow seasons, the days when you were not strong enough. And then you conclude that you have dimmed your own worth. But my child, your worth is not measured by a season in which you stumbled, nor weighed by the comments of people. You are precious because I have called you my child. A jewel lying deep in the earth is still a jewel. The dust covering its surface cannot change the essence within. I am cleaning, polishing, cherishing, and bringing forth the beauty I myself placed in you. Therefore, do not hate the process that is making you purer. Do not see my correction as punishment. My hand touches you, not to shatter you, but to bring you back into a higher, fuller form, true to what I thought of you from the beginning. Now, my child, when you see that you are not yet complete, do not despair because of it. A work that is still being finished does not lose its value simply because it is not done. A gifted artist does not abandon a painting because a few strokes are not yet bright. Nor does he throw away a vessel because it still needs one more firing in the flame. I am the same. I do not leave you in the middle of the process. Sometimes I let you pass through seasons of waiting to teach you patience. Sometimes I let you see your limits so you will stop relying on your own strength. Sometimes I close a path so you will not wander into a place that dries up your heart. Sometimes I slow down what you are eager to receive. Not because I have forgotten, but because I am preparing both you and what I want to give you. In all these things, you are not abandoned. You are being led by a love deeper than what your eyes can see. Remember Joseph, the one who carried within him a radiant promise. Yet the road to that promise was not paved with ease. He was misunderstood, sold away, separated from his family, brought into a foreign land, and then imprisoned though he had lived uprightly. If seen through human eyes, people could have said he was forgotten, but I never took my eyes off him. Those years that seemed buried were actually the place where I trained wisdom, endurance, and a heart that knew how to keep righteousness. At the appointed time, the door opened, and what had once caused him pain became the path that led him to a position where he could save many people. My beloved child, your life also has stretches of road you do not yet understand. But what you do not understand does not mean I am not acting. There are fragments of life that seem scattered, yet in my hands, they will be woven into a garment of grace more beautiful than what you once asked for. Therefore, do not let dark days persuade you that the light has been lost. Do not let silence make you think I no longer speak to you. Do not let delay cause you to doubt my love. I am with you on the mornings when you can smile, and I am also with you on the nights when all you can do is sigh. I am with you when others applaud, and I am also with you when no one sees your quiet efforts. I am with you when you stand firm, and I am even nearer when you tremble and search for something to lean on. My presence does not come and go according to your emotions. I do not love you more on the day you are strong, nor do I love you less on the day you are fragile. My love does not sway with the weather inside your heart. It is firm like mountains, deep like the sea, gentle like dawn over a field after rain. Perhaps you are carrying many unanswered questions within you. You ask why something good has come late, why a door that once opened is closed, why someone could not stay, why in some seasons you prayed so much and still had to wait longer. My child, I do not despise those questions. I know they are born from a heart that has hoped, been wounded, and tried to believe one more time. But today, I want you to place those questions in my hands, not in surrender as defeat, but in faith that I see the whole picture. You see only one page, but I see the entire book. You hear only one note, but I hear the whole harmony. You feel only the pain of this moment, but I see the day when that very pain will be transformed into maturity, kindness, and quiet strength within you. You do not need to prove that you are worthy of being loved. You do not need to chase people's approval in order to confirm your worth. You do not need to bow your head before the words that once made you feel small. I have called you precious, and my voice is higher than every other voice. When people see only the unfinished parts, I see what is being formed. When you see only scratches, I see the beauty that will shine after the polishing. When you see yourself moving slowly, I see each faithful step bringing you closer to what I have prepared. Do not be quick to despise your journey simply because it does not look like someone else's. I do not copy destinies. I write a path uniquely for you, with the rhythm, timing, and grace suited to you alone. So today, lift up your head in humility and trust, not because you have never hurt, but because I have upheld you through the pain. Not because you understand everything, but because you know the one who leads you never makes a mistake. Not because you are strong enough in yourself, but because I am with you, covering you, teaching you, guarding you, and completing what I began. What is happening in your life is not a meaningless mess. In my hands, every small piece can be placed in its proper position. Every tear can become a stream watering a new seed. Every dry season can become the place where you learn that the true source of water never runs dry. My beloved child, hold this word like a lamp in the days ahead. You are chosen by love, preserved by grace, shaped by a merciful hand, and led into the good purpose I have prepared for you. I was not far from you in the past. I am not absent in the present, and I will not leave you in the future. Yesterday, I lifted you. Today, I am still lifting you. Tomorrow, when you do not yet know how to step forward, I will still open a way beneath your feet. Let your heart rest in this truth. You are not alone. You are not forgotten. You do not have to carry your whole life by yourself. I am your Father, and in my hands, all things will be led toward the light, so that goodness may be born in the right season, in the right way, and according to the love I have for you.